Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Back today to talk about Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. This is a book that I know so many people have been looking forward to. It's been a real anticipated release, and it was one that I definitely wanted to read in the autumn months because it just seemed like the perfect witchy book for Halloween. Rewitched follows our main character of Belladonna Blackthorn, otherwise known as Belle. She's 29 years old and she is a secret witch living in London, working at a bookstore, just generally trying to stay afloat as most late 20-somethings are, working at the bookstore while navigating this really misogynistic new boss who is basically making her life a living hell, all the while trying to keep her magic secret from the non-witchy world. Though she will occasionally dabble in her magic to help her with routine tasks, like tidying the bookshelves or drying her hair. She's just about to turn 30 and is shocked to discover that with this milestone birthday comes an unexpected trial. For you see, magic in this world is limited, and new witches within this world are granted their powers at age 15 and are expected to individually harness their powers and discover their full potential all on their own, and their ability to do so is judged at a trial on their 30th birthday in front of their entire coven. If following this 30th birthday trial it is discovered that a witch has been either abusing or neglecting their powers, the coven will strip them of their magic and they'll be forced to live out the rest of their life as a non-witch. And just imagining having to get up in front of all of my peers to demonstrate that I am worthy of anything, let alone magic powers, which would include everyone having to watch some of my most personal moments, just horrifying, a manifestation of my worst nightmares. And evidently the same can be said for Belle. For Belle's initial trial reveals that she has been hiding her magic quite extensively, revealing that she has not been fulfilling her magical potential. However, just as she is on the verge of losing her powers, a loophole is uncovered, and Belle is given until the end of October to complete a series of magical tasks, which will truly test her abilities. If she's not able to complete them, she will indeed lose her powers forever. And so in completing these trials, what unfolds is this very practical journey, but also a very personal one, which forces her to confront her deep-seated insecurities and self-doubt, learn to trust in her abilities, and through her magic, uncover her self-worth. And I have to say, this is the third book that I've read since I turned 29 in March, which has involved in some way a woman who is about to turn 30, having a personal crisis and needing to change her life for the better. I wonder what that's about. I'd like to state for the record that I don't go out searching for these books. They have all found me. I'm fine, I'm having a totally normal crisis about turning 30, it's all good. A lot of people have characterised this as cozy fantasy, and I can definitely see why, and I think from the cover, you could definitely get that vibe. You know, it does look very cozy and autumnal. There's a cat, there are books, you've got the magical element. Oh, cozy, so fun. And I'm here to tell you that I was so stressed reading this book, because that main conflict of Belle potentially losing her powers, it does not let up. And most of this book is Belle either working at the bookshop, which is hellish in itself because of this horrible new boss, or she is spending all night studying, cramming as much as she can, learning as much as she can about magic, because she knows that at the end of these 29 days she might be losing her magic forever. And the fatigue and the tension, it's visceral. I felt it. The stakes of losing your magic in this world felt very real to me. But I think where the cozy description is quite apt is in the writing, because there is a lot of warmth, a lot of heart, a lot of humour in this story, and it's that combination that really lifts the tension in this book and still makes you feeling quite warm and fuzzy despite the fact that you are also feeling stressed. I really like Lucy Jane Wood's character work in here. The lovable characters are very lovable and they feel very real, particularly Ariadne, who is Belle's best friend. Her mother I loved. Arturius, who is her mentor, I thought was really great. Belle herself felt really real to me. Her feelings of self-doubt, especially turning 30, felt alarmingly close to home, and I feel like this book really excelled at capturing that uncertain feeling as you're approaching your 30s, feeling like you are simultaneously the most competent and confident you've ever been, and also feeling like, oh my god, what have I done with my life? Just being so full of self-doubt that you are worthy of this next stage, whether you are fulfilling your potential, whether you have hit all the milestones that you should have hit by this time. There are also more emotional weights, particularly as you're getting older, of noticing like your parents or your grandparents getting older. At the point of this book, Belle's grandmother has died, so she is dealing with the grief of that, not having these people to turn to anymore, or if they are still here, feeling like the precariousness, knowing that you have such a little amount of time left with these people that you love. There is warmth, there is humour, but there is sadness in this. I don't think that Lucy Jane Wood escapes depicting real emotion along with the whimsy. While these are not the highest stakes in a fantasy book, they did still feel really real. There is a little romance in this book, which I would say is pretty understated. I actually listened to an interview with Lucy Jane Wood where she talks about this character and how he was one of the last to be developed. Basically when her editor said, yeah, this is good, but we could do with a bit more romance. romance, kind of dial that up a bit. And you can kind of tell. There are definitely moments where I felt like this character had been kind of worked into the story rather than always having been there. You can definitely tell, especially I would say like in the first 2/3, where there was like an additional scene with this character or a moment with other characters that maybe wasn't there before but was added in later. But I will say, as we get further on in this story, he does get incorporated a bit more with these characters. Incorporated like eggs to batter. And you know me, I love a romance. I always am up for more romance. But I do get that the main impetus of this story is Belle and her self-worth and her journey to self-love rather than a love story with somebody else. So definitely the focus should be on that more so than romance. But the fact that it is there is very nice. I would say if I can criticise this book for anything, it is probably the pacing. It does definitely have a bit of a slow start, and actually getting into the main plot of Belle having to work on her challenges does take a bit of time. At the same time as saying that, I only noticed that on reflection when I was thinking specifically about this review and about pacing and plotting. That's when I realised, oh yeah, it is kind of a slow start. I wasn't really noticing it while reading because I was just enjoying all of the detail that was peppered in. But I think if you are somebody who likes a very plotty, pacey book, you might notice it. I also didn't necessarily feel like the villain plot was as strong as it could be. For starters, this is meant to be a bit of a surprise villain, but within the first page of meeting them, I was like, okay, that's the villain. I can definitely see where it could have been a surprise, but I did not trust this person from the get-go. So I've just spent a good 300 pages like waiting for the why they are a villain. That being said, when it comes to the villain plot, there were some surprises in that plot that I will definitely give the author credit for, aspects where I didn't see it coming. But I did also find kind of the resolution to that main conflict at the end of the book to be a touch jarring. There is a lot of build-up in the penultimate chapter when it comes to the face down with this villain, which then suddenly dissipates. We're on to the next chapter, it's all been dealt with, everything is resolved, and I just kind of felt like it had fizzled out a little bit more than I wanted, and I wanted a little bit more explanation. But despite those criticisms, I would still very much recommend this book. I found it so lovely. As I say, this really nice balance of the emotional with the whimsical. It is warm, it is funny, a book that is about developing your own self-worth as well as love within a community. I'm hoping that this review comes out in October, and if it is, get this now. This is definitely a great read for the end of this month because it will give you all of those witchy atmospheric vibes that you want. And I'm definitely keen to see whatever Lucy Jane Wood writes next. I hear that her next book is another witchy book about somebody who uses their magic for people-pleasing tendencies, and I would just like to say to Lucy Jane Wood, can you please get out of my head? Because one character that feels very much like me is a coincidence. Second time, I have questions. So there we go, those are all of my thoughts on Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. Do let me know if you've read this. Alternatively, let me know about any witchy Halloween books that you've been reading. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.